I've been in the counseling world for a very, very long time. Sometimes I wish I could get in a time machine and go back in time when I was strictly doing cognitive behavioral therapy with people. Even doing mindful cognitive behavioral therapy was more helpful than just straight up. It's just like, you know, some of our talking therapy is like, okay, you're coming to therapy. Well, first of all, you have to have goals, otherwise we can't work together. You got to know what your goals are.
Yeah.
Um, and we gotta, first of all, we're gonna start thinking about how you think about things, and then we're gonna just try to, cut and paste this negative thought into a positive thought, and then you're gonna feel better. And there's so much that kind of therapy can be helpful for lots of people, for some people. But I guess my fear now, understanding the acceptance and commitment therapy and the internal family systems therapy and all of that stuff, is that like, it's like that's mental gymnastics, right? You're just like, here's identifying this, let's remove that and replace it with that. And if feeling better and living in a regulated nervous system was that easy, we'd all, we'd have the work done by now, right? So
Yeah.
there's a lot of like emotional bypassing. So like there's an emotion underneath all of this. There's a healing that's asking to be cared for and compassion dosed and understanding and clarity about like what is this pilot light underneath this emotion that's creating that thought that we're bypassing all of the time in the regular thought world and in the regular like CBT world or whatever, so like um when we do the body work and we understand the parts work and we're doing that work together really beautifully, it offers this option for like true healing. Because
Yeah.
what happens, and some people in the research would say, like, some people after their thinking counseling, those thoughts are still coming back and they're coming back. And what we're doing, we're just sort of like, ooh, that's a thought that I was working with that I thought that was never going to come back again, and it comes back, and then we feel bad about ourselves, or there must be something wrong with me because this thought is still coming back. And
That's the harmful part, in my opinion, is
mhm,
that um there is this like, oh, got that done. Like that the thought will come back. Like
if
it,
the
it
healing is
will,
not done, if the healing is still asking for some care, then it will
yeah.
come. Yeah.
And or some event happens in your life, which happens, life happens, some
Mhm.
stressor happens, some big event happens, some sad thing happens, or some chaos happens. And then your nervous system will fall back into all of those states and you
Mhm.
will have those thoughts again. But
Yes.
but it then using this hard energy to push it away to replace it with a different thought, while it's epically bypassing, like you nailed it. It is bypassing. It's not even in alignment with the human experience. And then we're told that it works. And then when it comes back, then we self shame and then we question ourselves and we wonder what's wrong with ourselves rather than saying, of course, this situation is bringing back all this old stuff. How could it not? But
Yes.
guess what? Now you have all these tools. Like,
Mhm.
honestly, if we could just go in and surgically remove that thought and put in a better thought and sew it all up, wouldn't we all choose that? Like
Mhm.
that's what we would choose to do. And to think that we can just do that easily through
Mhm.
cognitive behavioral therapy, in my mind,
Yeah.
is just not, there's
Well,
so much
there
missing.
there is some parts of CBT which is actually trying to get underneath the patterns of why the thoughts come, that kind of helps us get to the belief system. That's really, I guess, the pilot light in that model for that thought, right? Um, but we're still CBTing the belief system in the FIS world, in the internal family systems world. We're doing a deeper piece of work around the belief system. Do we all have belief systems that are holding us back? Of course we do. That's the human experience. So like you can't just say believe different things about yourself and then you automatically do. It's a deeper piece of work in order to change belief systems. And the belief system is a belief that you have of that the part of you has, but another part of you might feel something completely different about. So like the parts work is so helpful because there's a part of me that has this sort of struggling belief system that can kind of keep me you know, living in slowly, maybe. But then there's another part of me that believes something completely different, and it makes me like, like a superhero. And then that's really confusing to us and to people on the outside because we're like, oh my God, like that's that doesn't make any sense. But in the IFS world, it makes total sense. And how do we start to work with these different parts of us that have these different belief systems? And it's such a compassionate model and it makes so much sense when I try to explain it to people. It's like, okay, here's just a real life example. Like, there's a part of me that really is aware that I should go for a walk today. But there is a part of me that also wants to sit on the couch and have a cup of tea and chocolate chip cookies.
Mhm.
And then there's a part that's on the outside judging me for sitting on the couch. And so like there's this whole system of parts all the time. And when we can move away from saying like, geez, what's wrong with me? How come I can't get off the couch and just change that, just be more motivated or whatever? Like, let's just talk to the part that wants to sit on the couch.